Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Brad Spates from Guide Technologies. Thank you again for joining us for our Infor XA webinar series. Today's topic is XA Service Management. It isn't about service anymore. And doing the presentations today will be Pete Stam from RMB Solutions and Joe Crow from RMB Solutions. Everybody will be on mute during the webinar, but you can utilize the question or chat feature if you have any questions or comments. This webinar will be recorded, and everybody that's registered will be getting a copy or a link for this presentation. So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Okay.
Yep.
Let me. Okay. There we go.
All right, Pete, you're up. Can you see my screen? Yes, thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and Brad, thanks very much for hosting us today. Wanted to just talk about how service has changed for organizations. And of course, organizations have different business processes within their service organizations, but we're seeing a pretty generic trend in certain areas. And one of those is how service for companies have become more strategic, different ways, but all under a customer contact or in a customer contact context. So they're working more closely with a sales organization, in many cases part of the sales organization. The service center is, whether it's a RMA repair depot or an actual field visit under a service contract or as a reactive work order, there's a lot more customer touch points happening within the service organization. For that reason, they've become a lot more strategic. At the same time, everything is really driven by consumer experience, and everyone has, you know, the Amazon experience and the FedEx experience, and you can check on any order online 24/7 via a portal or on your phone. And you can look at the status or the history of your orders. So people bring those type of consumer expectations into their business interactions as well. So everything's going more and more customer facing, more and more customer controlled and channel controlled, because there's several different processes and additional processes now that the service departments are being held responsible for. And again, not all organizations have all of these processes that they're responsible for in as far as toward responsibility towards their products, but they all are being driven to a more sophisticated level of interaction with the customer base. And so what Service Solutions should be doing, and what we're doing, is supplying more tools to support this change in these changes and added in responsibilities and these additional strategic initiatives. Traditionally, service centers were responsible either for repairing a product in the field or repairing a product in-house. You know, is it small enough to be sent back in, or do you need to travel to the site to do the repair? But that was pretty much service. And then really in 2021, that's expanded quite a bit. If we could go to the next slide, Joe. There we go. So today, you know, it isn't just about repairing it anymore. Today, it's about customer satisfaction. It's about 24/7 access or interaction with the customer. It's about now managing the service departments as a profit center, selling service contracts or secondary warranties or spare part sales. So it's really about structuring and the department more as a profit center and organizing it that way, and they need software to support that. There's a stronger connection with the sales departments now. The sales force wants to know what's going on at the customer from a service side before they walk in the door of the customer. They want to be able to interact with the service department while in front of the customer as well. This may be in creating an incident or a call. It may be creating an RMA for the customer. Those are two examples. Another big initiative that we're seeing more and more with our customers now is in the area of IoT, Internet of Things. And this is where customers start to add sensors to their equipment so that in the field, these sensors are driving PM schedules, preventive maintenance work orders, they're driving reactive work orders, and they're supplying metrics that can now be reported back to the customer on the performance of their equipment. And of course, this can be taken in-house to create corrective action plans to lower warranty costs and to lower downtime in the field for the customer. I was visiting a customer yesterday in the Midwest that they had taken, using our software, they had taken their warranty expense down from 4.2% of sales to 0.4%, taking warranty expense down. And that's pretty proactive. Field service is still, of course, a critical part of the service organization's responsibility. Scheduling and dispatch factors in to this. How do you optimize field tech schedule and communicate with them while they're in the field? Can they work offline in an application where they're seeing what they're supposed to do and they're collecting data and pictures and signatures? Are they able to email forms from their app to the customer while standing in front of them? Can they work offline as well as online? These type of changes have occurred for field service. Repair Depot has expanded. It's not just getting something in with an RMA anymore and fixing it and sending it back or sending back a refurbished unit in advance. Now it's about a 24/7 RMA portal where a customer can see their RMA history. They can request an RMA. They can see the status of their RMA. The Repair Depot itself for service may also work with manufacturing depending on the industry, but it's about remanufacturing. It's about overhaul. It's about processing cores. It's about refurbishment. Third-party warranty support is gotten bigger where people outsource their warranty work in the field. Now you have to have a way to manage the process with that third party as far as, again, scheduling and dispatch, allowing them a 24/7 portal to file their warranty claims with you where you can approve them and then go ahead and let them flow through to XA for processing reimbursement to that third party. Service agreements have gotten bigger and bigger, and they're a big revenue driver for companies. Warranties, of course, warranty expense is a big reason people come to us and look for our software as a way to get control of their warranty expense so they can track it, find out what's causing that, what are the big expense items that they're incurring. Vendor claims is a way to close the loop. Go back to your vendor, get some of your money back on items you had warranties on so you can reduce your overall warranty expense. Rentals, we're seeing more and more rentals depending on the industry and the company. Service departments are responsible for renting their equipment out. And so we support that as well in the software. And then metrics, as always, you got to have software that handles the transactions, and then you have to be able to get meaningful data out of that software. And the key is not being tethered to a desk. Be able to look at your phone and look at these key indicators, these key metrics. Next slide, Joe, please. So what Joe's going to show you now is he's going to show you our 24/7 service portals that are customer-facing, channel-facing. He'll also show you our mobile metrics, and he'll talk to you about some of our initiatives with our customers in the area of IoT. So I think, the topic of today was service management just isn't about service anymore. And that's so true. It's the service organizations have taken on a lot more responsibility, and if yours hasn't today, it will tomorrow. And what we want to do is be there when you need software to support those new initiatives and those new responsibilities. So Joe is our VP of Operations, and he's been in charge of creating a lot of this technology that you're going to see today. So, Brad, if you could now, Joe, if you could go ahead and switch over and show some of this stuff.
Great, thanks, Pete. I'll go ahead and take care of some of this. As Pete said, we're going to really kind of focus in on kind of giving you a highlight of some of the software, mainly around the service portal and kind of the front end of the process that we're being driven closer and closer to. So let's get rid of this PowerPoint. All right, and let's get this out of our way. And what we're going to do is we're going to now go into the software. All right. And so by the software, the service portal is really designed around making it easier for people to have visibility to information from the service world, as well as initiate service requests for their customers. And so you'll see as I navigate through the service portal, what it's designed to do is be the front-end engine to satisfy requests from originally started off with salespeople, some distributors, and then ultimately, it continues to expand all the way to how do I put these tools in the hands of my customers so that they can see what's going on. And so I'm going to start off this process by logging in more like a salesperson would log into the portal. And you'll see as I go through this process that it can be configurable based upon the person that's using in or logging into it that'll be able to control it. Now, from a salesperson standpoint, they have access to a lot of information. And of course, this sits on top and is completely connected real time with our base software of service management, but gives them a sliver of the information that they need in order for them to answer questions, either in preparation for when they go out to the field or when they're in the field standing next to the customer and they have some questions or concerns about what's going on. And so what the salesperson can do is they can search, and a lot of this was designed around, let me, I have a problem with one of my units. Let me pull up the history on that particular unit and take a look at it. But they also have other options in terms of searching for parts and products and invoices and looking at the returns, looking at any work orders, maintenance plans, and they can also do some reports out of the system directly from their device. This device is also designed to be mobile compliant. So I'm looking at it on a computer basis. However, you can look at it in the same way on a mobile phone, a tablet, or a laptop for flexibility based on where you want to use it, and all three if you choose to. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and look up one of these, and I found a little serial number that I'm looking at as a mix 2, and I'm going to find that serial number. And what it's going to do is it goes out and it says, okay, look at the serial number history. Now, of course, this is obviously our solution is an XA integrated solution. So this serial number would have at some point in time shipped out of XA. So it all starts with the source data out of XA and then comes into service management based software and then is shared amongst the users via this portal. And so now as a salesperson, I know some basic information. This was the serial number I'm looking at. This is the product. Yep, that's what I'm looking at. Here's the name of the product, when it was installed. Does it have any warranty coverage on it? This is handy for salespeople when they're in the field. Who is it currently registered to? And if they're standing in front of the customer and they look up a serial number and this shows registered to a customer other than who they're standing in front of, they can quickly go through here and actually register the serial number. Instead of calling to the office saying, hey, can you register this? They can handle all this right where they're sitting with the customer. So the customer's like, wow, you got great control over making sure my information is taken care of. Also, because I'm looking at the serial number, I can see other information at the bottom, like show me if there's claims. So these are organizations that might use third parties. And so this will show them all of the customer claims that were related to that particular serial number. And this one will show them all the work orders that were related. This one just so it doesn't happen to have any RMAs, but that one's coming too in terms of show me any open RMAs for this particular serial number. And so it gives very quick visibility without a whole lot of navigation from a salesperson standpoint to be able to get information quickly about what's going on with that particular serial number. Now what they can also do, now that's visibility side. Also what's happening is initiation. I want to do something. Well, now I got a problem with this serial number. I'm standing in front of the customer. Let me take care of you. What kind of action I want to take? If I'm going to dispatch a third party out to go do some work, I can begin a claim and get it initiated into our scheduling group so that they can get this out to dispatch it to a third party. I can begin an RMA on this one. So I can actually start, I've got all the information. I've got the product, I got the customer. What more do I need from the RMA? I can actually start creating the RMA from the standpoint. And then what I can also do is I can begin a work order. You know, if I want one of my field service technicians to come out and take a look at this. So you can start to see how this is really powerful when I'm sitting in front of a customer and I need to say, okay, I can take care of you. Not only am I going to tell you I have a guy coming out to see you, but I can give you the work order number for you to reference it should you have any questions along the way. Now, as I begin this, we also try to keep it really, really simple for a salesperson versus all of the detail that we can handle. For those of you that might know, service management is a very robust service software. And so what we do is, again, take a sliver of this. So I'm just going to give you an example of this in terms of what it might look like. So I'm going to begin an RMA for this serial number, for example. And so I bring in, this is the product I'm going to return. I just simply select a couple little things. What's the return code? Well, I want to get credit on this thing. What problem am I having? Well, the problem was you shipped me 2 of them. I'm sure nobody listening ever accidentally shipped too many products to a customer and charged them for it. This may not be relevant to you. And I may have some additional notes. You know, please make sure to credit as soon as possible for duplicate shipment, right? So whatever they want to put in here. Again, I don't really need a whole bunch of information to create this RMA. I just need enough to do that. Now, we also give them the ability to do multiples. Now, this will come in more into play when I start talking about the customer side, but you know, you could have 3 or 4 things that you're as a salesperson you want to have sent back. And so I can keep adding these to an RMA so they can put multiple products on one RMA document. That way they can maximize their shipping costs, put all the stuff in one box and send it over. When they click the next button, as you can see, it says, okay, do I have all the right information? Do I need to change any of this information? Here's my billing. I can adjust this if I want to. I don't need to. Most of the time, this is already populated because we're pulling data from integrated solutions in the customer master files, but it does give them the flexibility should they want to. And then what they do is they have, in this case, it also tell you if I need information. So Tommy, these are required fields. These can be set up to be required or not. All right, so I fill in the required fields and I click the next button again, making sure I got everything I need. So it kind of helps you along the process. And now I can review it, right? So we get that one last shot to say, is this what we want? This is the consumer, the billing, the shipping. Here's the product I'm sending back. I can also put attachments in here. This is becoming more and more important in the field. Somebody wants a before and after picture. You may want a picture of it while it's installed, for example, in the environment that it's in. I've had audio files being sent back in terms of this is the noise it's making when it was installed and running. These are really helpful things to be when you're returning something back if you're going to try to troubleshoot it and that kind of thing. If once I'm done with this thing, I simply click the submit button and they get presented with the RMA document. This is an example of an RMA or an RMA form. And these are the types of forms that the customer puts in the box and they send the unit back. These are really handy, fills them out for them. You put your logos on them, it makes it all customized. A salesperson can now do this right when they're standing with the customer in the field. Okay. They also know that RMA number 75 was created on that particular situation. And that, of course, interacts directly with our core software, which immediately real-time updates that RMA exists in the system so that we can plan for that RMA to come in-house. Okay, so that kind of gives you an overview of what the salesperson can do. Now, not always does a salesperson deal with a particular serial number at a time. They may also deal with looking up information specific on a customer. Well, that information is a little different. So if I pull up this customer and search for it this way, I know this is a consumer of mine and I know it's Haven Hospital. So I'm going to type in here. Haven, behave. I don't have to type all of it, just enough to find the information I'm looking for. And there's the customer. It pulls up and it's ready to go. So I want to look with this customer. If it had multiples, I'd be able to select whichever one I wanted. I select the customer I have, and here's my customer details. Now at this point in time, I see that this customer actually has a lot of serial numbers that they own. This is really handy from a salesperson's perspective in terms of how many of our products does this customer have. Now, of course, I always recommend with salespeople that you look at this before you go out to the field and know about it, but they could look at it while they're in the field in real-time information. And as they're sitting at the customer, maybe we just shipped them another one. So another one might pop in this list, right? And so this information is real-time and very handy. Now, what also happens now is, again, I can look at the work orders, but now I'm not looking at the work orders for that particular serial number. I'm looking at any work order that was created for this customer. So it could have been for any one of these serial numbers. And so you can see how this would be really handy for a salesperson to also be in the field and understand what's going on, so that they have quick visibility to what's going on with the customer. Okay. Now, once they pick one of these, just like we did before, now I pick something that I want to take some kind of action on. And so let's say I wanted to do the same one or a different one of these. I wanted to do the dash cam. And the dash cam comes up, and now it kind of starts them back where they started before when they were actually be able to look at it directly from the serial number. And then they have the same actions to do whatever they want to do with it. So it brings them back. So they have the flexibility of looking things up by customer, or if they have a specific serial number, that's a really quick way of being able to view and take action on that particular serial number at that point in time. Once they come back, the other thing for visibility is they want to be able to kind of see that stuff. So if they can review the returns, it gives them a list of the returns that have going on. Again, it's designed to be working on a mobile device, so you can see they can scroll down and they can see what's going on with all the RMAs that they have. Or they can come back here and they can say, okay, I want to see what's going on with some of the work orders I have. So in this case, we can see these work orders. You can see this one's still in open state. It's waiting on a vendor approval. This thing's not working. You can see the notes are right there. They can look at the attachments that's there. Again, it gives them a lot of visibility to what's going on in the world of service for them. They can then come over here and they can look at their maintenance plans if they have open maintenance plans. This is actually more relevant for a customer logging in than a salesperson, but is also important. And then we also provide reports. And so what you can do in our base software is you can create standardized reports using our report builder. Once you save those reports are viewable. They're viewable on this device. So they can pull up any saved report that they've done in the field or on their mobile device, and they can click on it and it will actually open it up in a view, and it'll actually open it up into an Excel file for them to view on their phone. Now on a phone, a report kind of looks kind of small, but you can get the information you need. But if they're on a tablet or a computer, it gives them really great access to reporting capability. Okay, so now now I'm going to transition. That was a lot talking about a sales organization, but as I said, we're getting pushed farther and farther up the channel, and more of our customers want to be able to put these apps in the hands of their customers to do this work, and so that can be done as well. So what we have is we configured the system so I can actually log in as a customer. And what that does is it limits my access. As you can see, I see less options for myself. In this particular case, this customer was set up to look at my serialized products. So when they click on this, now it's not, this particular customer only has one serial number with us. All right, well, that's great. I know that I have a problem with this serial number. As a customer, I can now log into this, and you'll notice that they don't have all the actions that a salesperson might have. Right? They may be only able to begin RMAs. This is all configurable based upon what access you want to give your customers. But I wanted to demo the fact that you could control that. And so in this case, they only have the options of being able to begin an RMA. They don't have authority to create a work order. They don't have authority to send out a third party to do work on their system. All right, but they got visibility, same thing a salesperson would have. What's the product? This obviously defaults to them because, of course, that's them pulling it up. Now they get some additional usage data if they're calculating what's going on with their particular instrument, so they can see this happens. This relates very closely to the IoT work that we've been doing that Pete mentioned. We have a customer right now that has IoT devices on all of their forklifts. And every night it synchronizes the IoT data using our APIs and grabs the hour meter off of those forklifts. And those forklifts are required to have maintenance on them based upon hours, just like your car needs oil change after a certain number of miles. And so what happens is it comes back here and they can see the usage as a customer on all their instrumentation, right, with this app. They can look at each one of their units and see what the usage is on this with the IoT coming in, because it updates on our side, updates this app. They can see it. They don't have to go out into the yard and see what's going on with this particular forklift. They can see it right now, real time, on their phone, anywhere, as long as they have internet connectivity or cellular connection. So this is becoming more and more popular to have immediate visibility to what's going on with the instrumentation in the field. And then they can even look at what their preventative maintenance looks like. And as Pete was mentioning, we're doing a lot more around maintenance plans and service agreements. And so they can see what their maintenance triggers were, what the values were that they triggered, when did they trigger. All of that helps them get visibility to what's going on. And so now the customer has all this information in their hands that they can make good business decisions on. All right, the customer also has visibility to things like their returns. Like in this case, they can look at the only work orders. Now remember, when I showed this to you, they weren't able to create a work order. However, customers like to be able to see the work orders that they've done with you, right? So they can't create a work order, but they can see them. And so they'll see that this is the work orders that I've done on that for me as a customer. And so this gives them great visibility to be able to kind of see what their service history has been like with the organization. They can do the same thing with their maintenance plans, right? What maintenance plans do I have set up in my organization? This one is a maintenance plan. It's for a rebuild. It's performed every month, starting on 7/1 for a year. I can see that plan. Here's the notes on that plan. I can look at all that stuff. I have all that visibility in my hands as a customer. A number of our customers are starting to move towards selling this app as a service to their customers when they sell a piece of equipment, because it's a value-added piece, right? And so they do some type of subscription fee to it, and then they make a little additional money on the service side, as service is turning more into a profit center than just a cost center. All right, they can see, they can search for any of their invoices that they had with you. So if they bought parts and pieces from you, this is, again, because of our integration into XA, I can provide a great deal of data to these customers, because I simply have I bring in all the invoices sold to that customer, and they can now see them all. That's a very powerful piece when they want to do that. One of the next things that we're doing here that's not quite there yet is that we want to be able to create an RMA right from the invoice. Brings over all the invoice information along with just the actual unit. So that's as you can see, that's a very powerful piece of being able to expand upon that visibility. They can search for a part. When they search for a part, they don't only have to return a serial number or a product. They may have a part that they bought that's a non-serialized part, so they can go to the part, search for it, and then it takes them down the path. Let me show you this. So I'm going to look for a part number. This is one I know is there. I'm going to submit it. It's going to pull up that part. And again, this is an XA part number, right? Again, because of our integrations with XA, we have all those part numbers, so we know it's a valid part number. It really helps so people don't type in the wrong part numbers when they switch them back. And so I can come here now that I have the part, and now because it's only a part, I can begin an RMA and return that part. So as you can see, there's a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to use these service portals so that people can get visibility to what's going on, and that they can initiate action all by themselves. Okay, so that's a service portal. That's really been a big player in our world in the last couple of years, as this has been building out more and more to give visibility and initiation to the service world. Now I'm going to ratchet a little bit differently to the back end of the process, which is, so what? Now I got all this information entered into the system. Now I need visibility to my data. If your organizations are anything like the organizations we deal with, reporting's becoming a bigger and bigger demand, and the amount of data is becoming larger and larger, and the reporting requirements are growing more and more grand every time you see them. And so what it really rolls down to is we're starting to see a lot more movement from simply grabbing data, throwing it into a spreadsheet, which our report writing tool does a really good job of that. But now people want to see a visualization of the reports and the information telling them something that helps them run their business. And so it's very similar to what we do with the service portal is we give our customers visibility to their dashboard. And so their dashboard allows them to be able to see a visual representation of what's happening in the service organization. You know, a very typical one is tell me the work orders by, you know, what products are causing me work orders to go to the field, right? So they see this visualization, they can start to help them make decisions. They could always get this by dumping into a spreadsheet, throwing a graph together, all that works perfectly fine, still does today. But more and more customers are wanting these kind of dashboards to just simply go, show me my dashboard of this before, instead of me having to dump data and then do the analysis work. You know, here's an example of an RMA by top entity. So now you know exactly what products are being returned. You know, those are my top ones. Well, if I only have to worry about my top 10, if I solve all top 10 of them, my next top 10 will fall into place. And so it gives them not only visibility of what's going on, but which ones they should focus on. Engineers love this, right? They look at it going, this gives them visibility to what they need to work on to improve the product reliability and to reduce warranty costs. So this is a really big opportunity for people to see data. Work orders by top resolutions, if you're doing symptom problem resolutions. A lot of folks are using this in terms of utilization. How well am I utilizing my resources? You know, are they at 70% utilization? Are they at 40% utilization? You know, am I really busy? Should I, you know, where's my cutoff to where I should be hiring more people? You know, so those are the kind of things that we're starting to get questions on, and these dashboards allow them to do that. The dashboards also allow you to have multiple dashboards, right? So as I look at this, this was a general service type of dashboard. Oops, sorry about that. Let me pull that back up. There we go. And so now as we come into the dashboard, you can have a whole list of them in this. So like this, actually, I think I pull up a different one. So let me see if this one pulls up anything. This is an example of a customer claim one, right? So I can load up these and I can see what's going on. And these are my top dealers. So I can evaluate how many claims am I getting from dealerships who are my top players here, and customer claims by top entities anymore. This also allows you to be able to create your dashboards. These sit on top of a data warehouse views. The data warehouse views are designed to take the mystery out of data. If anybody's ever tried to grab data out of any of the business systems out there, you typically get, I need the work order number. What's the work order number? Well, it's WO-NOT345, right? And oh, by the way, I also need to know what table it's in, right? So I got to go do all that. Well, we did a lot of that work for you. And so what we did is we took all that information in a logical sequence that typically drives these type of reporting, and we made all the fields match exactly what the user interface says. So if it says customer claims, and when you pull it up, it says customer claim. Work order number is work order number. And so that makes it a lot easier for people to be able to run their own reports and get information out of the system without having to be a database genius or an IT expert. Okay, so that's the kind of the dashboard piece of it, or in terms of reporting capabilities. A lot more is going on with this. This also, as Pete mentioned, enables you to be able to look at these on a phone. Let me see if this, yeah, that'll work. As you can see, as I do this and I get to a smaller real estate, it simply puts it in logical order up and down, right? So I can look at this on a phone. This is becoming more and more popular because everybody's mobile these days. I need to look at my reports. Well, let me run back to my computer to get them. Well, I don't need to anymore, right? I don't need to look at my reports. Let me just log into the app on the phone, and now I can see my dashboard in terms of what I need to look at. All right, so that's dashboards. One last thing we wanted to share with you was really around our web portal. And so our web portal enables you to be able to, this is our third-party tool. That's not what I want, sorry. That's what I want. And what the third-party tool is, it's designed to, as you can see, it's pretty plain Jane in our software because it's designed to sit on your website or on your dealer portal. And so a lot of customers have their dealers with a lot of different resources available to them that enable them to be able to log in here and get things like manuals and requirements and certification stuff and viewing history. So what this is designed to do is once they click on the warranty claims process for them to file a claim back into manufacturer, it just launches into our software, so it sits on there very well. You can also apply style sheets to this too, which we've done. So anyway, what happens is the dealer logs in here, and what they do is they get their service request. So when we talked about dispatching a third party to go do work, you know, you need some way of communicating what you want them to do versus send them an email, can you go work on this unit? You know, what am I working on? Well, you're working on this serial number. Well, what am I going to do to it with this? Okay, well, now I need to submit it back. What do I want to submit back? And so what happens is when they come in here, they get to see a list of warranty claims. And once they log in, they only see the claims that have been dispatched to them, right? So once they get the claim, they can see some summary here of the claim. But what they're really interested in is they're looking at, I want to know what I need to go do. And so you can see that the service request for the third parties was designed to just be a simple single-page work order, right? The old-fashioned slip a piece of paper on a clipboard, let me fill it out. Don't make me click all over the place because I'm in the field, I'm trying to do this, I might be trying to do it on a mobile device, whatever it is. Keep it simple for me. And so the service request was really designed around what am I doing? And so it tells them some information up here. You'll notice there's configuration buttons, so I can hide the entire section. I can hide in a specific field. I can make a field required. And so I have a lot of configuration that I can do with this based upon how you want to run the relationship with your dealer. When your dealership logs in, they actually automatically populate this because we know who they are, right? And so we populate their information, but they're able to put things in here like change a telephone number, email address, that kind of thing. They can add additional contacts if they want, but this also tells them what the service customer is that they're going to go see to do this work. It tells them what product I'm going to go do. Now, if they're doing like an installation, for example, they don't really need a symptom problem resolution, but if they're out there doing service work to repair something, they need to know, you know, a little bit about what they're going into. You know, is it not running, right? Is it not powering up? Is it making funny noises? You know, what am I going out there to look for? Well, give me some clues, right? So the symptom is always what the clues are. And then what they do when they find the problem is they tell you what the problem is, and then they tell you what they did to resolve it, right? Well, this is important for you to know as a manufacturer as you're getting ready to pay them and find out what actually happened in the field when they did that work. And so it kind of walks them down through the process. They can have some custom fields if they want to. You can actually predefine steps for them to take in the field, or they can provide the steps that they took if they want to get more granular in what they did. The parts are XA part numbers, right? So they can type in a part number of the ones that they used. It validates the part number for them against the XA master files. For example, if I put 001 and 816, I think this one's in here, it's going to find the part. And what it's going to do is it's not only searching for the part, but it's also pricing the part using the XA pricing files for this particular dealership. Okay, now this one's a good example because this one also, as a manufacturer, you define it as this part requires an RMA. And so what's going to happen is once I add this part to the order, you can set up the system so it automatically creates the RMA for the dealer. Now, this has been a big problem for dealerships because dealerships never know what products to keep to send back to the manufacturer and which ones not to send back to the manufacturer. Most manufacturers, excuse me, don't want you sending back nuts and bolts. But they want you to send back an entire motor or something like that. So this helps the manufacturer communicate real time with the third party in terms of what they want to send back as a unit. Okay. They can then enter their labor. Now this is handy from a labor perspective too, because what I did is, because I picked that particular third party, Service Management allows you to be able to set up your labor rates for that particular third party. So now there's no guessing anymore. The dealership that's filling this out is going to know exactly how much you're going to pay them, right? This is an example of the red asterisk in terms of required fields. And these are also required fields. So this one we got set up right now, and you can configure this. I got all 5 of these set up to be required fields, but you could require only one. And you could display only regular hours if you only approve regular hours for this. So there's a lot of flexibility here in the labor section. I entered enough labor as I have going there. Number of trips I did, what steps it was applicable to if I did steps up above. There's a lot of flexibility in here. You'll also notice that there's text in here. This allows you to put little instructionary pieces to help the dealership through this, right? Things that they might get wrong, or I always say, whatever a dealership might get wrong, put it in here. Give them explanation about what they need to do. In this particular case, not only did we put it in there, but we made it a different color, right? So that's just an example. Now you have expenses. Expenses are typical things that you have with dealerships. I don't know, they had to go get a roll of duct tape to fix the thing. Maybe they needed a hose clamp. They needed some hardware. Those are the things that are not parts as a stock part that you would see in XA, but be miscellaneous things. They may have lunch if you approve lunch. They may have, car rentals, hotels if they have to stay over. All of those fall into this expense bucket and allow them to be able to not only put the expense in, pick an expense category, categorize it, but also put a comment in terms of what they're doing there. This is also another great spot to put your exceptions. Only meal expenses can be submitted. Travel expenses will not be approved. Why not tell them that right then and there, right? So when they pick some of those categories out, they know what to expect. The more you can work with your dealerships to help them be successful to get reimbursement for the work they do for you, the more they like to do work for you. If that wasn't enough, you could also add additional services in here. A services, good example might be maybe they had to go rent a forklift. That's more than just an expense. It's kind of more of a service that or maybe they had to hire a third party electrician, for example. They were out fixing something, but they had to have an electrician hook it up to the panel. Those are kind of things that they can add in here as services and as additional line items, so you can keep them separate and report on them separately. They can put their attachments in here, the pictures that they took in the field, a copy of their work order that they had is always a good thing if they'll share that with you. Before and after pictures are always a good thing, right? You may have checklists that you want them to fill out that they may put in here. And so they put their whatever attachments they want to put in here. They put some additional notes in here, and that's it. So as you notice, there's a lot of information they can put in, but it was really logical in terms of how they had to go from top to bottom. And once they finish it, they just simply come up here and select actions and submit this to manufacturer pending approval. Once they submit it, now you get it back from the manufacturer in our core software real time, and it updates them and updates you. You can have an email sent to you in terms of this has been in there, it's ready for submittal, or you can simply look it up by the status code. And what it also does is once you submit it, it locks it. You can configure it so it can lock this request down. Now the dealer can't make changes to it while it's going through your approval process, right? So this is giving them a warning going, are you sure you're done? If they're not done, they can keep this open and draft. It's always not been another challenge as we talk to third parties I got to make sure I have everything I need because I can't draft it and save it and come back and do work later. Well, we fixed that with this particular functionality, so they can save this as long as they want and then select action only when they're done. And so once it's done, it's going to refresh everything, all the screens, if they are designed to be locked down, and be locked down so they can't play with them anymore. And now they got their service request and they're moving on to the next one. So this is a really powerful feature that has been very well received by third parties because it's simple, it's easy to follow, and it keeps the dealership in the loop of what's going on. When you change the status of one of their claims, in the base software. For example, you move it to receive to in evaluation, the warranty committee, you can set it up so that the dealership not only sees the status change in the portal here, but they also can get an email notification letting them know that it's moving along. And so the dealership at any point in time can look at this query, and these statuses update real time. And so you can see that this one's submitted manufacturer for approval, this one is too, this one's submitted. They can see that, and they can see movement on them. What they can also see, we have another view for them as well that shows them the credit memo number that was created for this one. If you issue credit memos, if you issue payments, they can put the check number in that field for your dealerships. Okay, well, I'm running up against my time. It's about 10:02, Brad. If I don't know if you've gotten any comments or questions.
No questions.
I will turn it over to you.
But what I can do, let's see. I think I can, can I? I think I can unmute everybody. Yeah, we have a small audience. If there's any questions, okay, unmute all attendees. Yes. If there's any questions or comments from the audience, we have a few minutes yet. That please ask away. Okay, Joe, sounds like you covered everything thoroughly. So with that, I'm going to thank everybody that was in attendance today. Again, everybody that's registered for the webinar will receive a link with a video of recording of the webinar. And if you have any questions, please contact your guide account exec or either Joe or Pete Stam as well. So with that, I thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone, for your time and attention.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.